Let's move quickly to talk about the aviation sector and what's been happening around the stock market. Nigeria is steadily recording dwindling investments in its aviation sector. The highly dollar-rated sector now faces foreign exchange crisis as liquidity dries up in gradual process. In the last 3 years, foreign airlines' profits have been trapped as they cannot repatriate profit back home. Well, everyone is aware of that, and government is trying to do something. But at the stock market, some airlines that were quoted have crashed out their stocks as livestock lose confidence in airline stocks. Let's cross over. My colleague, market editor Effiong Ekop, is standing by. He is on the streets to look at what this means. Effiong, how are you today, and how are investments in the airline aviation sector faring?
Tolu, this afternoon I'm reaching you from Airport Roads here in Ikeja. I should tell you that huge investments in the Nigerian aviation sector at the stock market seem to have gone bad. Presently, we have only 3 companies in the entire aviation sector listed at the stock exchange. Only one airline, and that is Medview Airline. Then you have NACO, which is a handling company. Then you have a logistics company also listed. So only 3 of them operate, represent the entire aviation sector on the stock market. And because dividend from the sector is not always coming to meet expectation of investors, I seem to understand that majority of investors have dumped huge shares in the sectors, and so the investments in the area have gone bad. We had airlines that were listed before and they crashed out. I can remember ADC Airline and one other one that I cannot say. Some of them because of operational problems, and they had air crashes all the time. And so all of these investments went down the drain. And so investments at the stock market is somehow weak, and investors are not so happy playing in the aviation subsector. But if you look at it generally, the sector is dollar-rated, and we seem to have great liquidity problem or crisis. And so even foreign airlines operating here are not finding it easy at all. The fact that we do not have refineries, refining aviation fuel, and they have to buy at very exorbitant prices, all of this concentrate and bring back the logistics problems to operators, and in the end they pay little or no dividend to investors. Tolu?
Interesting stuff. We hear that the amount is really scary. I think it's above 700 million, almost 800 million at the moment, foreign airline profits that are trapped in the country. Let's understand the implications of this.
The implications very, very huge and scary. One, it means that majority of the foreign airlines will have to relocate from Nigeria to neighboring West African countries. And Ghana seems to be very attractive to some of them. We also know of the Republic of Benin. So because the operating cost is very high here, so anywhere that you will be able to mitigate your operation costs and even losses, you need to move out there. Then again, we are having this liquidity crisis. It's been on for nearly 3 years now. We should be able to, enable these foreign companies to repatriate their profits out of the country. According to bilateral air services agreement that they had, Nigerian government accepted that it will facilitate their movements of profit out of the economy at the time that they need. But now, with the scarcity of foreign exchange and the crisis, these amounts that you've mentioned, almost $800 million of their revenue or their profit, being trapped within our domestic environment. And so it is not attractive to them. That is why majority of them have, come out with different kinds of tricks to cheat Nigerians and then stay in operation. For instance, they reduce the number of flights that they come into the country. And again, they use smaller aircraft, to take people out of Nigeria, and they charge more. All of this to be able to stay afloat. And again, in fact, the Nigerian airlines cannot compete with the foreign ones. And so we find that it is difficult to operate in the aviation subsector. Don't forget, the major issue is that operations in the sector is, dollar rated. And these dollars very, very scarce. So that's the problem. The future looks so bleak until we are able to put our acts together. Then we are not servicing our airline industry in a way that it will grow. Tolu?
Well, interesting stuff there. But if before I let you go, with economic and social crisis enveloping world economies, we talked about that in my previous discussions. Now, can our airlines be insulated from bad fortunes?
I do not think so, because generally we operate in one global village. What affects one economy affects the other. The major problem here is that we do not harness our own resources in a way that we get better benefits from them. Nigeria has great resources. Even some other people from outside this church, they envy us. But we, the owners of these resources, we've got to sit down and then think of how we can do. Look at the issue of oil and gas, Tolu. Then why is it that we are even paying the rates that is obtainable in the world market? Because we are not able to have our own domestic facilities to reduce the cost. That is one. Look of agriculture. We have good arable lands, but why our food price is very expensive? Look at our maritime. We have Atlantic Ocean surrounding about 6 states in the southern part of the nation. Fish and other maritime resources, very, very expensive. So what more do we need nature to give us? So we need to manage our aviation resources very well and then be able to mitigate the losses and not necessarily competing with the bigger airlines. What of the West African airlines? Are we able to compete with them? Can you say that Nigerian airlines are able to compete with those of the ones from Ghana, the ones from Egypt, the ones from Ethiopia? These are African airlines. Even right now, we do not even have a national carrier. We are struggling to bring one, to operations. The story is not that fine. So the fact that we have this global crisis, some other countries are managing their own so very well, we should also be able to sit down and do that. I think we need a think tank for the aviation industry. Tolu?
Efengeko, thank you so much for your brilliant contributions there around stocks and what's happening around the aviation space. Stay safe.